For this, I'm gonna do a little short video. Basically, I'm going to describe the auction house and economy in the video game and computer game known as World of Warcraft, and how to make the best out of what you can do. So, generally, this is for making gold, as the currency in the game is, and this can go well for other MMORPGs as well. But now, World of Warcraft may seem like a simple game for nerds. It's not really. It's more complex than anyone could really imagine a game being. And this is gonna, since I'm gonna be basically talking about making gold and such, I'll just give a little bit out there about my knowledge of making gold now. On my account, I've made maybe over 50k gold easily. But this was over a span. So, for this, I'm going to describe how I did it in a little bit of detail. Basically, the key to making gold. Now, Blizzard always gives you this key. There's the key that doing quests and doing these missions will grant you gold. They do. That is a strategy. You may want to do all the quests you can up to the point that you're doing dailies. Now that will be a good profit for gold, but then you ask yourself, what's the best usage of my time? Now, the best usage of your time, I would say, would be the auction house is there for a reason. So, for the auction house, what I basically did before I even dabbled in the auction house, what I started doing was I had a bunch of, you don't actually have to get them to maximum level. My characters are at this point of 85 right now. So when you get to 85 and such, and the ability to, once you get the ability to make the highest thing you can make in any profession, then that is the level that you can stay at. You don't need to go higher. But once you reach that level, you are more able, and it all relies in your professions. Now you have the crafting professions, and you have you have your other professions. Now, most of the gathering is what I meant to say. Now, gathering is more important than crafting is. If you ever get to gathering, these are herbalism, skinning, and mining, first of all. So those three are very important. So herbalism, skinning, mining, best combination ever. So you have characters that maybe are herbalists, you have characters that are maybe max in skinning, maybe max in mining. Then you're pretty good to start, and you can just go to the auction house, search through all the ore you can, search through all the herb you can, search through all the leathers you can, find which ones are making the most profit per stack. You go, and I can tell you the location of where to find it, but you will find that specific area in which to farm the materials, and then you can go sell them in the auction house for quick gold. But what else? Instead of doing that, you can also branch out and have crafting professions too. Now, crafting professions are very tricky because they require a lot of time and effort. If you link mining with jewel crafting, that's a pretty good combo. Mining, blacksmithing is a little tough to get higher. I would not personally go for blacksmithing first. I would go mining, jewel crafting. Jewel crafting is going to be easy if you have max miner. You can just send your materials to your jewel crafter, max them all the way up, and then you're making jewels for that would prove to be useful in the auction house for sale. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to also have alchemy. Alchemy is really good with herbalism. And skinning, you can pair with almost anything. You don't exactly need leatherworking. You don't exactly need tailoring. You don't need enchanting either. You don't need those ones. But skinning is just very important in itself. So, I mean, go for whatever profession you feel like after that. But mainly you need alchemy and such. Alchemy is very good with jewel crafting. and mining, they they all tie, because number one, alchemy you can transmute into gems and such, and jewel crafting you'll be able to cut the gems. But otherwise, you would just be a jewel crafter and then get the gems on your own and do that whole process. But personally, you would level up your gathering professions first, because they're going to be the quickest, and then you would deal with the very proficient crafting professions. And there's also the process of this is also dealt with in economics and modern world with finance. Basically, it's called undercutting. Undercutting is when you take there's a certain fixed price, like on this board. If I have 25 gold of a price, and I want mine to sell, so I'm going to use what they call the low cost strategy, and I'm going to make mine maybe 20 gold for the same thing. So now people are going to want to buy mine over the 25, and this is called undercutting. You're going below the price. Now, but be careful not to go too far low. If you go too far low, then you're completely disorienting yourself in that economic area, and you won't make the profit that you're supposed to make, because it's automatically going to be outweighed, and it's going to annoy the rest of the people in the auction house, and that is not good. The auction house can also be very tricky for people, but the main area to go to first is trade goods, because these you can easily get. You don't even have to have Mr. Pandaria to do this. You can ultimately deal in cataclysm areas, like depending on your realm and depending on your auction house, so savage leather may sell for a high price or such, and when you're maxed on skinning, you can just go farm that, and when you farm that, you can get a bunch of stacks of it. But this is the fallacy of it. You can't depend on one trade good to get you so far. What you have to do is you have to differentiate it and allow diversity in the materials you can get, because the more diverse the materials you can get, the more money you will inevitably make. Because if savage leather, let's say someone undercuts me, I have a price of 150 gold, I get undercut and they put 145 gold. Now I'm undercut. Simply I can leave it there, or I can cancel my auction, but I put a deposit in for creating the auction in the first place. So let's just say I moved to a different area in the market. I moved to ores. Let's maybe say an ore was selling for 200 gold on the market. I undercut to 195 gold. Now I'm making a profit still, but if I was to still stay with the savage leather, all I would be doing is keep undercutting over and over until the price finally goes all the way down, because you have people in the auction house that are purposely, and they either don't know this or they're purposely just undercutting too low, and then when the prices get so low, people buy it again and the cycle restarts. But the best market areas I personally found were adamite ore and borean leather, and not hide leather as well. And you can also do this. Nagrand is a special area for elementals, for adamite ore, for not hide leather as well. You get all those together. That is making the best. That is seriously making the best of a situation. If you went to farm somewhere, don't just look for one little material. You want to look for many that might be on the market. So when you're looking for many that are on the market, you're making more profit than you would have just on one of it, because you can't ever depend simply on one trade good. But due to the varying servers and varying auction houses, maybe you're going to have a high price in crafting materials of jewel crafters. Well, then you should become a jewel crafter and undercut prices and such, and you'll make the profit. But you don't always have to stick with the conformity of the auction house. You can branch out to do dailies. You can branch out to do quests. Whatever you feel like. It's personally, you pay for it, it's yours. So you do whatever you like. But The auction house, it gets very, very nitpicky and tricky, where you might not want to always follow the same prices everyone else is following, the same professions everyone else is following. That would just make you one of them, and then when they always undercut in their market, it's gonna always stagnate you. So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to be able to be flexible with it and have different professions so that you can switch off and do all of this and just keep switching off on professions that might be good, might be bad, just to find the right profession. Now, um, I found that, not to bash on blacksmithing or leatherworking, but I found that those two sometimes don't make enough profit as they should. And same with tailoring. Tailoring is really good if you want to create bolts of stuff. And once you create these bolts of stuff, you might sell it for maybe more. And it's all about, you want to gather, you have your cloths, you have every trade good that you can actually farm. There's more than you can do than you can imagine. It's not like Blizzard makes it really hard to gain gold. It's just a matter of doing it on your own and being able to have the patience, do whatever you need to do, listen to music while you farm, do whatever. And once you do that, then you're pretty much set to kick up on the gold meter. Now, there are certain things that you should be wary of, and that's when Blizzard changes the areas of farming. They might make more farming nodes in a certain area. Now, that's bad. More farming nodes in a certain area means more people, more competition, and plus more abundance of it means, because there's more of it, more people are going to gather it, more is going into the auction house, which means not many people are going to really want it in the end, and the price is going to decrease. Now that's just basic law of supply and demand. But if you deal with more different, harder nodes to gather, now Blizzard actually, in Nagran, let's say, you've tried to find Adamite ore. Well, we know Adamite ore does not have a lot of areas that you can farm it, but um, there are places other than Nagran where you can actually farm Adamite ore. Blizzard just keeps it so that simple that you don't know. But I recommend going to wowprofessions.com, and they will help you with farming. But do farming to a miniature scale, because if you increase it so much, you're only going to keep screwing with the auction house, and you're only going to keep screwing other people over. So you might as well do quests for a little time, do farming for a little time, just a little farming. You can make a profit off that, even 100 gold maybe for medium leather, even just one stack. Now that's good enough, I would say. You won't make a crazy amount of gold per day, but you'll make a very good amount as opposed to everyone else. So that's basically all you really have to do to gain gold in the game World of Warcraft. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.